Now, both global and local trends are showing that more and more people are shopping online. Experts say that there has never been a better time to start an online store. With internet penetration quickly growing and a need for convenience shopping begins to take root in Kenya, e-commerce is slowly taking over. But if you have a business without a website, you should set up an online store. So just how does it work? Now, e-commerce provides a platform that allows the seamless buying or selling of products on online services or over the internet. In studio to tell us more about how SMEs can tap into opportunities by selling online, I'm joined by Mr. David Kiprono, Communications Director, Posnet Ltd. Karibu sana to our studios.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so maybe you can begin by understanding or having an overview of what Posnet rather does and what it's all about.
Postnet is a point of sale system. That is, we offer it as a software, as a service online, which actually helps SMEs to manage the entire business, from paying of your taxes to managing your customer relations, customer service, being able to basically do all the other functions that a standard POS system does. Basically, it's a point of sale. But the unique thing about ours is the fact that instead of you having to buy an expensive point of sale system, we turn your usual Windows PC into a point of sale. So this makes it cheaper for the client, because our system is available on the cloud. So you're able to access your data anywhere. You get alerts on your gadgets on the go.
Okay, so maybe for someone who is not as tech savvy as you are, maybe you can help us understand what is POS, point of sale service. Maybe just make it light to understand.
A point of sale system is basically a system that helps you do your balance sheet. For instance, if you're a small duka, and you always have, you want to know the clients you have who come and buy on credit, others buy on cash, others buy on M-Pesa. Sometimes reconciling all these different kind of transactions become a nightmare. So a point of sale, and there are businesses that actually have a lot of transactions in a day. And so you find at the end of the day, before the point of sale systems were invented, it used to take manual calculations. And sometimes this is where pilferage comes through. You find that people are not able to track how their businesses are performing. So this one is an automated process. It helps a client, a business to understand if he's doing well in his businesses. And now, with what we offer with Postnet is we go over and above and also help them to calculate their taxes, how much, for instance, if you have an item like sugar in your inventory, with our point of sale, it actually helps you calculate how much tax you're giving back to the taxman, so that it can help you manage your profit and loss balance sheets.
Okay, great. Now looking at the global and local trends now showing a spike in online selling, what can you say is the driving growth of e-commerce locally?
I think there's just been an upsurge of the need has been there, and it's an organic thing that has happened ever since the advent of you can say the internet age, because with unemployment being rampant, especially in Africa, and Kenya being not being escaping the unemployment scourge, you find that very many young people have resorted to wanting to do business online. So we used to have people who would freelance, and they would actually write articles online. But then the more the web space expanded and people were able to have safer and faster transactions being able to happen online, it became a very easy way for people to start doing business, which could actually earn them money. So right now, e-commerce can be performed from the comfort of your house. Very many people today don't need to go through the expense and the hustle of having office space, as long as you have a laptop and internet, and in some cases, as long as you have a phone, a smartphone, you're able to actually sell your products. So I think one of the things that has actually seen e-commerce grow in this country is the fact that we've had unemployment, and most of the people who are getting into e-commerce are younger people. You have graduates who have the skills in making bags, and others are making shoes, others are able to sell different things, but they've realized that I could actually just be a very good online broker, as you say, as you can say. So I'm able to get a gadget from point A, sell it to someone from point B, make some money out of it. So I think this is one of the things that has helped
the
close the
e-commerce
gap.
space grow.
Yes, exactly.
And now looking at how the young people are coming up, they know so much about technology or around technology. How do you think then we can penetrate into the market to help our parents who we have left behind come into the forefront and understand how e-commerce works? I
think our parents are not doing as bad as we think, because when M-Pesa came through, I think being a tech product, I think the initiators at first thought it was just going to be something that was going to be used by the tech-savvy people. But when it was broken down to the USSD level, to a point where you can use a feature phone, right now if you go to a village, the remotest part of Kenya where there's M-Pesa, you find an illiterate old man is able to navigate through all the processes with his phone to get until send money, withdraw money. He even knows how much charges his transactions are going to cost. So I think that when e-commerce becomes a necessity, when it becomes a necessary tool, then everybody slowly just onboards. And we've seen it with various other products. For instance, if you want to apply for business, to search for business today, you're just going to go to your eCitizen portal, and you find that the different cyber cafes, we used to think cyber cafes were going to die. But right now, cyber cafes have been turned into BPOs of some sort, because people are able to walk there, and young attendants are able to onboard older, you can say conservative people of our society to understand this is how you can apply for your KRA PIN, this is how you're able to search for your business on eCitizen. So I think I wouldn't be very skeptical about everybody onboarding into the tech space in Kenya, yes. Okay, great. Now, looking at insecurity, or rather cyberbullying, how then do we go about curbing cyber insecurity? When you talked about cyberbullying, and I think according to me, on a personal perspective, I think it has a lot to do with the morals of a society, because it's like you have a knife in your kitchen in the house. It could either cut vegetables or it could harm someone. So when you're given tools to use, including communication gadgets, the internet, you have the right to use it well, productively, or to use it negatively. And I think the morals that we instill in our people, how we raise our children, how we relate with one another, guide so much of how we're able to use the internet. So you find that in societies where there's a little bit more of controls in as far as the society is bringing itself up, there's less of the cyberbullying. Online crime as well. I think that is huge. It's the same. I would just think that this has more to do with how we look at ourselves as a society, more than actually the internet being an enabler. Okay, great. Now, maybe we can look at some of the opportunities that maybe SMEs should look into or look out for in the e-commerce industry, and also maybe some of the specific industries or commodities that are some of the biggest business opportunities for online businesses. Glad you say that. I think one of the easiest ways in which the e-commerce industry could grow, could scale itself, is if we were able to get businesses, people to come together and create seamless, fast and safer ways in which goods are delivered from point A to B. So far, if you notice, companies that are doing well online, from Jumia to Glovo to Uber Eats, Kilimall, whichever. They are enhanced greatly because border riders have become the de facto delivery group. We don't have a standardized delivery system in Kenya. Like back in the day, we used to have Posta. They used to do a lot of countrywide deliveries. So I think that is a space that still has room for growth, because right now I think almost majority of Kenyans have accepted e-commerce as a way of life. So now, how do we get their goods to get to them safer? Because one of the things we've encountered in this e-commerce space is you order for something from point A, by the time it gets to point B, it's probably damaged, or we don't have checks and balances to really look into the integrity of our products. So I think that is a space in which the entire e-commerce fraternity need to look into and be like, this is where we can actually go to enhance e-commerce in Kenya.
So then how can we then ensure that SMEs and startups are on top of their game, looking at the kind of competition that we have now in the country?
I think, like with every other internet business, innovate. Be on top of your game, because it's cutthroat out there. I say this because by the time a company like Google or Facebook would be top ranking out there in the terms of online businesses, there are very many other companies that that started at almost the same time. But I think having healthy competition and actually upping your game and trying to know what is new and what is what is trending and what is effective, I think that would actually help newer entrants into the e-commerce space to scale better. So there's no shortcut. With this one, it's all about be on top of your game. You need to just make sure that you're able to beat the competition, because every day, every new day, we have new products coming into the market. And one thing about the technology space is what is relevant today may not be relevant in a week's time. And we've seen very many businesses that have been retired by innovation. So disruptions are happening day to day. So I think anybody who wants to get into the space must really be quick on their toes. And now looking at the government's role in all of this, it definitely has to come in handy. Then what do you think would be its role on enhancing the e-commerce sector in Kenya? The ease of doing business we cannot overemphasize the fact that the government needs to make ease of doing business a priority in Kenya. Of course, we've had policy talks here and there, and we've had the government engage the sector, but I don't feel like it's engaged the sector robustly. For e-commerce and general online business to do well in this country, I think the most critical thing is the government must make it very safe. And for instance, things as basic as internet connectivity, making sure that we have satellite stations remotest parts of Kenya. Those people need services. And you notice that these are functions that the government, especially the national government, can actually come into play to help us be able to reach some of these people out there. The other thing is the government has, they've been coming up with training colleges, the TVETs and whatnot. We have very many young people who are eager to bootstrap and get into the workforce. But are they getting the necessary support? Are we onboarding them to be competitive enough to know that? And this applies to Kenyans as far as the remotest part of Kenya you can think of. You have young people who are finishing their fourth form, others finishing colleges, and they want to get to run. Government is the only entity that can help them to actually onboard onto these colleges, tech ICT centers out there, so that we can be able to have a better playing field.
And also now, besides the ICT sectors, they could also maybe look into PPPT, working with the public-private institutions. I think that will come.
That would work, and especially now the counties could play a very big role in doing a lot of public-private partnerships to help, because they can reach people within the machinani to be able to onboard into the ICT space. ICT is a big employer today. The biggest companies in the world. When you think about the richest people in the world today, they are all within the ICT sector.
Yeah.
We cannot function today without ICT.
That's true.
So I think any country worth its salt would actually want to enhance the ICT space.
Yeah.
And this is one of the areas in which I feel really still needs a lot of engagement in as far as we're concerned. Just a point to add is we saw Mark Zuckerberg come into the country to come and because M-Pesa is an ecosystem that works here, and they were baffled at how it succeeded well. Africa being a canvas, you can draw anything on a canvas. So I think we have the advantage of being able to transform our society into an ICT-based society. And this can help us leapfrog. We can meet the gap between the developed world and the developing world. And I think that this is one thing that the government still needs to really re-emphasize and look into.
And also borrow from those that have already made it.
Yes, exactly.
And now PostNet being a data storage provider company, what can you say are some of the challenges that you are facing, and how have you been able to go about them?
I think the biggest challenge we face is a perception challenge to start with. Because you can I can understand when the government was having frustrations when they were rolling out Huduma number, and everybody was wondering what
that was huge.
Yes, what is the government going to do with our data? So when you tell people that you're offering a cloud service, sometimes they wonder, is my data safe? What are you going to do with my data? And how I'd answer that question is you log into Facebook every day. You upload your private moments, you put a lot of details about yourself, all your locations are tagged, and you never wonder what
Facebook is going to do with your data.
Because Facebook has sold integrity as part of their business model. So I think perception is a very big issue that we face, not just PostNet, but very many SMEs within the ICT sector. So I think one of the things that we need to do is to go on and sensitize the people to understand that you can trust companies that come to you and say that your data is safe. But of course, I would advise everybody to do enough background checks and to vet the companies that are offering cloud and online services.
Okay, now dealing with maybe third-party suppliers, what are some of the issues that SMEs should look out for?
Like I said, I think you need to first be very sure about who you're dealing with. Just like any business. I think it's important for you to go vet, do enough checks, ask around, and just try and understand their business history, because some of these things are available online. We saw very many people lose a lot of money through dubious schemes online. And this had a lot to do with, again, the fact that these people were able to sell a vision to people, and people bought in hook, line, and sinker. So I think the most important thing for anybody who wants to deal with a third-party supplier is just understand, just do enough checks and vet them enough to understand. This is your data at the end of the day. This is, and in some cases, this is your money and security as well. So it's important to understand who you're engaging in this sector.
And now with everyone going into the online space, buying something, purchasing a good, a product, what can we say are some of the cheap hacks that maybe we can use when it comes to you're using money? So what are some of these cheap hacks that maybe we can get to know from you, who has dealt with several clients and people out there? And also, what are some of the hidden online transaction fees that people should get to know firsthand?
I think the best thing first to do is read the terms and conditions of every site you get into.
Actually, a lot of people just click.
You just click. Yes, you tick. Because you'll find that there are no hidden charges per se. You find that they're actually there, but we don't take time to actually read through the full website. Like when someone advertises that I sell the best shoes online, and they're going to have a nice image of a shoe there, the first thing you're going to do is add to cart. Add to cart. You're not going to spend enough time to actually go through the rest of the website, understand it. Do they have physical locations? Are there refund policies? And so you find that very many people lose a lot of their money, and there's really very little that can be done to track some of this lost money, especially when it's international transactions. So we've had cases of people actually ordering for an item, and what they receive is not that. So it's important again to look at your product, do image searches of what you've seen, because there's a way you can actually do an image search on Google. Do an image search on the product you've seen, and you're actually going to see it away from the staged photo shoot that has been presented for you, and then you're going to know whether this is a product that I actually intend to have or not. Because once you have it, there's no way you can return it.
True.
I think the best way to answer this question is, I need you to understand that providers of products online are also very tech savvy. And they spend a lot of time to make sure that the client is going to click the checkout button. So in as much as they are spending a lot of time to make sure that you actually purchase and you scheme your card there, the second, you also must match them with being savvy enough to understand. But most important thing is this, be very careful where you input your credit card numbers online, credit card, debit card. In fact, what I would advise people is, if you have access to a prepaid card which you can load, or or an aggregator like PayPal, where you can just load just the exact amount, because the danger about using your personal debit cards and credit cards is you can actually fall prey to fraudsters who do what we call phishing. They create websites that are replicas of the real thing, and you may not know. The only way you're going to know is actually if you're keen to look at the URL. When you're keen to look at the URL, you will find a discrepancy. You may find a hyphen. You may find where there should be a single letter, there's a double letter, because they play around with the URL. But they clone the site to look like the real thing. And when you run your card there, they capture your data, and this is one of the things that people have found themselves losing a lot of money, and they get wiped out.
How about those sites where you get not secure and you just proceed? How about those ones?
Already you see now that the Google, one of the providers is Google, has already warned you that this site is not secure. And you find that you want to proceed. Now this is like saying that proceed at your own risk.
At your own risk,
There's nobody to blame should anything happen. So I think the best thing to do, again, is to just make sure your URL. In most cases where there's a HTTP, there's always a HTTPS. The S there normally comes in play to show you that it's a secure site. That means that the server host of that particular site has ensured that it's a safe site, and the host providers of these sites have also ascertained that the company, the website that is being registered here is a legit business. So, of course, with anything to do with the tech, it's not foolproof 100%, because anything is hackable. But there are things you can do as an individual to minimize your risk of online transactions. Online
fraud, okay. So maybe from the services that you offer, what are some of your charges? What are your rates like?
We tailor-make our rates based on the businesses that are there, because when we got into the space, we thought that we could just have one rate, one price fits all kind of a situation. But we found out that various people needed this service, and they had different kind of needs. So what we do with PostNet as well is we just don't give you a standard system. We custom make it for you, and based on that, we then sort of like custom make also the pricing. The best thing to do is you log into Posnet.co.uk, and from there you can actually have, there's a nice little chat box, and what happens is you're able to engage with our customer service, and they can guide you through the pricing model. But what I can tell you is it's cheaper way cheaper than any other POS system that is out there in the market.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Always supporting your own advertising yourself. Thank you very much, Mr. David Kiprono.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Okay, now there you have it. You can find them on postnet.co.ke. That's how best we can make economies more inclusive when it comes to e-commerce. Okay, from me, Tabitha Muthoni, we'd like to say thank you very much for watching this special edition of Game Changers, and now continue enjoying the rest of your viewing. Conversation continues online. #Game Changers at Metropole TV KE, at Metropole TV Kenya. Goodbye.